Well, for more on the inner workings of the UN's Climate Summit, we're joined now by Tristen Naylor. He's a lecturer at Oxford University and is an expert on how summits operate and how these closed-door meetings lead to policy. So, Tristen, very interesting to have your perspective here, because we look at what's happening on the face of the talks, all the reports that are coming out, but now we want to sort of unpick the actual machinations of the negotiations. What have you noticed about this summit in particular?
Well, there are a number of things that are really interesting about this summit. Of course, one is just the scale of it. We have 195 different countries party to these talks. Their delegations can number in the hundreds. So we're talking about thousands of people working on this over the next few days, and indeed have been working last week, and the whole process has been years in the making. So it is a huge and cumbersome process. To have arrived at a draft agreement on the weekend really is in and of itself a big milestone.
And is that possible because there was a lot of work done leading up to this summit, or did they really make that their starting point?
Unquestionably, it's taken years to get to this point, and all of that careful groundwork that is laid and negotiated over the years leading up to Paris has allowed for this agreement, or this draft agreement, to come together on the weekend. But that's not to say that the first week of the summit wasn't a flurry of activity. It absolutely was. What we have here is both a political imperative, but also a political will to reach an agreement, which we didn't see to the same extent at Copenhagen, but we see it here now.
And we've just been looking at pictures, just to the right of you actually, of all the leaders who have attended. Who do you think has been the most impressive in trying to sort of set the agenda, as it were, for this summit?
I think one of the most significant things to happen in the lead up to Paris was the bilateral meeting between the United States and China that happened almost a year ago now. Where they agreed to emissions targets between the two of them. That really was a significant move that set the groundwork for success at Paris. So I would say that Beijing and Washington coming into the summit, very much singing from if not the same song sheet, a very similar one, really they've been the key players here.
That makes a lot of sense. The two biggest economies, the biggest polluters coming together to set the scene there and say, look, we can move forward now. Okay, well, Tristen Naylor, thank you very much for your analysis.